Somebody said one sentence to you today. Just one. And it ruined the next 6 hours of your life. You replayed it in the shower. You replayed it while driving. You wrote comebacks you'll never say out loud. And by the time you finally calmed down, the moment itself was long gone. Only your mind kept living in it. Here's the part that's going to sting a little. That person didn't ruin your day. You did. Not because you're weak. Not because you're too sensitive. But because nobody ever taught you what actually happens inside your body when you get triggered, and what you're supposed to do with it. In this video, you're going to learn why anger disappears on its own in less than 2 minutes unless you keep feeding it, why the people who push your buttons aren't actually doing anything to you, and the exact shift that lets some people stay calm in situations that would wreck anyone else. This isn't about suppressing what you feel. It's about finally understanding it. I used to think I was just a hot-headed person. That was the label I gave myself. Someone would cut me off in traffic, or a coworker would say something with that tone, and I would carry it for the rest of the day like a stone in my pocket. I thought that was my personality. I thought some people are just wired calm and some people are just wired reactive, and I got the short straw. Then I learned something that changed how I saw every angry moment I'd ever had. The chemicals your body releases when you get triggered, the ones that make your chest tighten and your jaw clench, they clear out of your system in about 90 seconds. That's it. 90 seconds and the biological wave is over. What keeps the anger alive after that isn't the event anymore. It's the story you keep telling yourself about the event. Think about the last time someone cut you off in traffic. Your body reacted instantly, that jolt of adrenaline, that's the real 90-second window. But then your mind started narrating. Can you believe that guy? People are so careless. This is exactly why I hate driving here. And now you're not reacting to the car anymore. You're reacting to the story you built on top of it. 20 minutes later you're still angry, and the driver who cut you off doesn't even remember you exist. Once I understood this, I stopped believing people had this mysterious power to push my buttons. We say that phrase like we're vending machines, like someone just presses the right combination and out comes rage. But nobody can press a button that isn't already wired to something. Those buttons are old wounds. Unhealed moments. Values that got violated a long time ago and never got closure. So here's a pause and reflect moment. Think of the one person who triggers you the fastest. A coworker, a parent, an ex. Now ask yourself honestly, what is this really about? Not what they said. What it touched. Most of the time you'll find it has almost nothing to do with them, and everything to do with something from years before they ever showed up in your life. That realization is uncomfortable at first, because it means you can't outsource your peace to other people behaving better. But it's also the most freeing thing you'll ever learn, because it means the power was never theirs. It was always yours. Here's the next layer, and this one might be the biggest shift in the whole video. What you call anger usually isn't the real emotion. Anger is more like a bodyguard. It shows up fast, it's loud, and its entire job is to protect something softer underneath, like hurt, or fear, or shame. When your partner forgets something important and you explode, you're not actually angry about the calendar. You're hurt that you didn't matter enough to be remembered. When a friend cancels last minute for the third time and you snap at them, underneath that snap is usually something quieter, like I feel unimportant to you. Anger feels safer to show than hurt does, because hurt makes you feel exposed. So your mind sends out the bodyguard instead. But here's the problem. When you only express the bodyguard, the other person only ever hears, "You're being difficult," and never hears the real thing you needed them to understand. Try this the next time you feel that heat rising. Instead of saying, "You never think about me," try naming what's underneath it. "I felt forgotten." Say that instead. It lands completely differently, because it's true, and it's soft, and it invites connection instead of a fight. Now here's where the real power lives. Between the moment something triggers you and the moment you respond, there is a gap. It's small. It might only last a second or two. But inside that gap is the only real freedom you have. Most people never even notice it exists, because the trigger and the reaction feel like the same instant. But they're not. There's a story about a man who survived one of the darkest places in human history, a concentration camp, who later wrote that no matter what was taken from him, nobody could take away his ability to choose his response to what happened to him. If a person can find that space in a situation like that, you can find it in a passive-aggressive email or a snarky comment from your sibling. The way you access that gap is with one question. Before you respond, ask yourself, what response would I be proud of tomorrow? That single question is enough to slow the reflex down just long enough for you to actually choose, instead of just reacting like a pinball bouncing off whatever hits you. There's a quieter skill underneath all of this too, and it's the ability to watch your own emotions instead of becoming them. Picture a version of you that can notice, oh, irritation is rising, my chest is tightening, without getting swept into it. That noticing part of you is always calm. It's never panicking, because it's not the emotion, it's the observer of the emotion. This is different from suppressing what you feel. You're not pretending you're fine. You're just not letting the wave decide who you are for the next hour. Next time your body starts to react, try quietly saying to yourself, I notice this rising. Not, I am furious. Just, I notice this rising. That tiny shift in language puts you back in the driver's seat. Now let's talk about the people who trigger you the most, because I want you to see them differently by the end of this video. What if the most frustrating people in your life aren't obstacles at all? What if they're the exact resistance you need to build the specific muscle you're missing? The overly critical boss isn't just difficult, they're forcing you to build resilience you never had to build before. The passive-aggressive family member is training your ability to hold a boundary without collapsing into guilt. This doesn't mean what they're doing is okay. It means you get to decide what their behavior is going to build in you instead of just what it costs you. That reframe changes everything, because the moment you see a difficult person as a trainer instead of a threat, you stop being a victim in the story and you become a student. And a student can learn something even from the worst class they've ever taken. None of this means you have to tolerate everything. Boundaries matter here too, and boundaries aren't walls meant to shut people out. They're more like the skin on your body, they let good things in and keep harmful things out, but they only work if you actually state them. Something as simple as, I understand you're frustrated, but I don't respond well to being yelled at, can we talk when things are calmer, is not aggression. That's clarity. And clarity, more often than not, is what actually protects your peace, not silence and not explosions. Sometimes the most mature thing you can do isn't to respond at all in that moment. It's to say, I need a little space before I respond to this, and mean it. That's not running away. That's giving your nervous system time to settle so that what comes out of you next is something you'll actually be proud of, instead of something you'll be cleaning up for weeks. Here's the last piece, and it might be the most important one. You are never really reacting to what happened. You're reacting to the story your mind instantly wrote about what happened. Someone sends a short, curt message and your mind writes, they're mad at me, I'm in trouble. That story creates anxiety. But there's another story available for the exact same message. They're busy and stressed, this has nothing to do with me. Same words on the screen, completely different emotional experience, because you're the one writing the meaning. None of this becomes real change by just hearing it once. It becomes real through repetition. So for the next week, don't try to fix everything at once. Just pick one thing from this video. Maybe it's the 90-second rule. Maybe it's the pause before you respond. Maybe it's simply noticing, I feel this rising, instead of becoming it. Practice that one thing every single time you feel triggered this week, nothing else. The people you admire for staying calm under pressure were not born that way. They practiced this exact process, over and over, until it became automatic. You are not behind them. You're just earlier in the same practice they've already been running for years. And the version of you that difficult people no longer have power over, that person isn't some far-off idea. That person is built one 90-second pause at a time, starting with the very next moment someone tries to trigger you.
Like to learn more about human psychology? Like, comment, and share this video. Subscribe my channel now. Thank you for watching.